like that. It just gets you kind of thinking. The gears going. All right, there we go. All right, so medical English, do a few things on your own with students, and then also you do at an actual hospital. What do you want? Just kill me, Gata. Okay. You run an English school?
I was told to come here because I had to come here.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
You have students?
No.
We have a program where you just have kind of students.
No, we have just English classes throughout the week at Integrity English School in Kagoshima. So we do just private classes, and we have some kids classes.
Okay.
Yeah. I do group classes too.
Okay, group classes outside of the church?
Yes.
Okay. Tom?
Teach at international schools, things like that.
Okay. No private lessons, just mainly. Okay.
Yeah, I teach private lessons at Integrity English School.
Okay.
No way.
I'm just interested, generally. I've taught some English here and there, but kind of just like wanting to use it as a tool of ministry and also like tent making maybe, if I go somewhere else other than that.
Sweet.
Never.
Sure.
Yeah.
For that.
No. Actually, like one time I was thinking about maybe teaching here, but one of the students that was like, "Oh, you want Anna to teach you?" But she's not a native. Then she's like, "Oh no, I want a native." So I was like, "Oh dang it," like that's I guess my Achilles that I'm not a native, even though I do speak native. So kind of want to learn how.
You can claim it.
So no, I kind of want to learn how to teach English because like
you graduated college in English, and I didn't graduate college in English.
But I don't really like. I guess so. Well, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, we went to college.
That's good to know. I understand that though. That's good. That's good to know. And so you're under a program. You're working within like not conversational program, but like in an international school setting, type of thing, right? You're thinking, and you have your own program, and so and then you kind of run your own thing with students. You're also looking for direction in that. And then why English? So I can get where you're at, where you're coming from. Do you do English classes, or are you interested in it, or why?
I've done like English summer camps in China, so
Okay.
I've a little bit of experience.
Sweet. Good. Okay.
Also, your screensaver's on. It's very soothing, but also a little distracting. So whatever you guys, whatever you want. You okay?
I'm okay.
Okay, right.
I'm okay. Because when you zone out of me, then you can just look at that and enjoy the time. Okay, so this is not like a lecture, but I've been doing English, or I've been teaching English in Japan since I was 19 years old. So I came here, stayed with I was living with Pastor Rick at the time, and there was a couple at the church that had an English class at their house, and then also they had afterwards, or they had an hour in English, an hour of Bible study. And I started attending that on Mondays. It was a free thing going on there, and that's where I ran into side by side this text that I've been using since. Actually, I still have my copy from then, and I still use it 15 years ago. I've been teaching English ever since. I taught at Okinawa Christian School, the ESL classes when they had them, where the students are being integrated in junior high school, elementary school, junior high school, and high school. And I learned a lot it's all on-the-job training, and that was working under folks and seeing them. I worked at different jukus in town that pretty much get the kids ready to take the college exam, and which is there's a huge English section to it, and so I worked into those programs. I've also worked at a college, high school / college, really elite. It's the most elite college in Okinawa, technical college. Government puts a lot of money into these kids that are really intelligent, and I was able to work there for years and working under their program. But also at the same time, with all the things that I've gathered through all the other programs I worked at, I was able to put a lot into there, and not experiment, but see how it works. And then I also worked at a vocational school in Naha area, that was just conversational. So I've taught conversational at colleges, privately, for free. Also, I've taught extensive reading, which is a reading program that you read is just a load of books at an easy level without dictionaries, and so that the method, the thing is actually it's taken from a kind of a Christian aspect, that you get so full to the point where you're overflowing type of thing, and so the whole overflowing aspect, or whatever they use. But you read as many books as possible, because here you run into words, grammar, ways to express things, that you get exposed to a lot of English just through books. So if you speak to a Japanese or an English speaker that reads a lot of novels and books, right? I mean, I notice a difference in how and the words that they choose and how they speak, right? As opposed to someone like me that doesn't read a whole lot of books, and there's only a right, like I'm doing it right now. You can see the difference. The only difference is that they read books, right, as opposed to someone who doesn't read books. And so if you're learning a language and you're reading a lot of books in that language, it's going to overflow into your conversation abilities. And so this listening program helps build up pronunciation, because you're listening to pronunciation being, these books being read to you as you're looking at them. And so anyways, so I taught that for many years as well, at the really prestigious Juku college prep school, and then also at the college I taught the extensive reading, and then I also was able to teach conversation. And then at our English school is where I started teaching kids. And so kids were a no-touch for me, because I've just never been good with kids. I didn't grow up around kids, and so I didn't know how to deal with kids. And so I just didn't want to do kids, right? So I just did adults at first, and then these last 10 years have been doing kids English, and I love doing kids English now. It's awesome. Okay, so first I'm going to speak on three things: purpose, program, and promotion, and then I'm going to share the materials with you at the end of it, because I can go on for days about materials, so I want to throw that at the end. So purpose, program, and promotion. So purpose, first, you're taking notes. Purpose, for us as a church, when we moved to Nago, the school that I started there in Nago, I could have easily taught at a local English conversation school run by a local fellow there. While I was working at the college, I still needed finances. We're still really low on, so I needed finances. I could have just gone to something that was already established, but I purposely said, I'm not going to go to something that's established. I need to start my own thing because of community, right? So purpose, number one purpose, at least for us, is community, building community. Community means family, means friends, the people that on the missions field, you go there knowing no one, away from your friends and your family, and the worst thing you can do is not build friends and family there, right? And so building these relationships, this community, it makes it like it doesn't make like, oh, I'm away from home type of thing. It's like, I'm home here. Oh, hey, you see people all the time, you know them, you know when their birthday, you know about their family, you know so much about them because of English classes. They know so much about you. You've spent a lot of time together. You've celebrated things together. Building community is really healthy, just as a person, right? And then also the next purpose is connections. and connections are kind of two-part. One is our major connection, which is to share the gospel, right? So we build a community to get to know people and have family and to just build a family there, right, with the community. And then second, the connections is these people I'm connecting with, I get to share the gospel with, because the gospel's seen in my lifestyle, it's seen in my reaction to certain things that they say, or my certain concerns for their life, and that just naturally are there in English class, naturally are there before and after classes as well. And how I treat them compared to how other English teachers have treated them is very different, right? And so that's the connection is the way, because I have these connections, now I'm able to share the gospel with all the people that I meet. You go there, if you're on a missions field and you go there and you don't connect with anyone, you say, come to my Bible study, and you're just sitting there waiting. To me, you're just, there's no connections. You're just waiting for someone to hopefully come in, type of thing. But through English classes, we have connections with the community that we're already building, and then we're able to invite them to church, we're able to invite them to events, and whatnot. And I usually keep, so a question I received earlier, do I slip things in about the gospel throughout English class? Am I, some people pray at the beginning of English class, right? There are different ways to do that as a Christian. Personally, they're paying for class, and so I just keep business in an aspect, right? And so I just teach English class. Now, naturally within the conversation, there are certain things that come up that, as a Christian, I would respond to differently, right? Or things that yeah, I'd encourage you, come to church, because that, the things that we teach would really help you with, what you're going through right now. And so this does come up, but it's not purposefully tricking them in a sense, or like, I've got you here, you know what I mean? And it's naturally, when God says, share, then like any situation in life, even at a secular job, if you're knocking on doors, going around door to door, salesman, right? You're not purposely slipping in the gospel there. You're doing business, but then if the Lord leads you to pray for that family or something, right? Then you're going to do that or whatnot. And so I purposely kind of leave, okay, this is English classes, so I want you to know that we're doing English classes here, and you can come to English class and be safe, because they don't know what you're teaching. They don't know what you're about. There's a lot of cults out there that are teaching English. They're trying to bring people in, and so they're afraid of English class connected with the church, and they're rightfully afraid because there's a lot of weird stuff out there. And so I keep it separate so that they get to first see us and see me and how I love them and deal with them and care for them, and financially, in English class, when things aren't going right in class, when things are going, and they get to see all that, and then they're like, I can really trust this person, to where, hey, we're having, there's just, can our kids stay with you tonight, right? They trust us with their kids. I brought a kid to the States for a month, right? And that's, he's in elementary school, and his parents let us bring him to the States for a month, which is like, you let someone else bring your kids overseas? Right? It's nuts. Well, they've been with us for years. They trust us. They're not part of the church. They trust us. They've seen us. They've come to Bible studies. They come to outreaches after coming to English classes for years, because they know that they can trust what we're saying is not something weird and twisted. They can trust us. And so I purposely keep it separate in a sense, right? And so English class to English class. You come to English class, that's what you get. And then also connections. So we have community, then we have building connections, and then we have connections not just for sharing the gospel, but connections for the sake of connecting to, and I didn't do this purposely, but I've realized it over time. There are people that we've gotten connected with because of those connections. We're now connected with so many other people in the community because we got connected with this bakery, because we got connected with this, whatever, different people that are heads of different communities, getting connected to the community there through English classes. You're now connected to all of their connections in a sense. They invite their friends to come to your outreaches, to come to your concerts that you're throwing at the church, to come to your Christmas parties that you're throwing at the church. They also connect their people with your English school. And when I first went, I thought it was all flyers. And that's all I thought. And so we spent every last penny, literally every last penny we had, instead of on food, on flyers, because that would, in turn make money and whatnot. But people they just didn't respond to flyers. Like, we just never responded. From me passing it to them. I kind of threw flyers out for a while, but then I realized that flyers are good for people that take them home and give them to their friends and give them to their family members. So the connections you make with the community there are then going to connect you to other people. And that's how probably 80% of the people that attend English class with us are connected to someone who is previously or currently coming to English class. And so our first connection got us connected with a bunch of other people. Our second connection got us connected with all of their family and friends. And so it's things based on word of mouth. So building a community, building connections to share the gospel, and then building connections to build the English classes, which then in turn help you build your community and your family and the people that you're falling in love with and the people that you can trust and you share special events with and birthdays or whatnot with. And then also you're building this connection group of, a large connection of people that you can share the gospel with. So building a community is a purpose of it. Building connections for sharing the gospel. We didn't know anyone to share the gospel with, right? There's no mihama or place where you can meet up, where everyone's there and Saturday and Sunday evening. We tried that, but no one gathers anywhere. So these connections are the only way that we get to meet people to share the gospel with, right? And so that's purpose. So we invite them to church and whatnot. We've been doing church for 10 years there. The church had no one coming for many years, but every Christmas party we had like 50, 60 people coming. English classes were still like 2 or 3 people at the beginning, or we had for 6 months 0. We didn't have anyone coming. We spent a lot of money to get people home. 6 months nobody. Finally, first person came. It was like a dream come true, right? Someone came, and then a couple months later, 2 girls came, 2 high school girls. An older lady that came, and then 2 high school girls that came. The first year we had maybe 3 or 4 people that came, right? English classes, and but every event that we threw in Nago, we realized if you got food, people aren't shy to invite their family and friends, and they call you saying, "Hey, I'm gonna invite my cousin and aunt." And I said, "Okay, yeah, sure." Some people don't even; they just show up at the door with them, which is very different than what I've experienced down here. And so but the connections then get people coming to your event. So throwing events that you invite the English students to and all of their friends and connections with, if they own a business, they throw your flyers down at their door, and people pick them up and see them, come to the event or whatnot. And so then you share the gospel, and then you have everyone's attention, and it's a really sweet time each time. Purpose is sharing the gospel, but we've never seen the purpose be fulfilled in people getting saved, but we have definitely shared the gospel, which is what we're called to do, right? We're called to introduce people to Jesus, not get people saved, because that's what the Holy Spirit does, is He saves, right? He opens people up. So we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, connecting with the people. Okay, so purpose, done with that. Building community connections, 2 part for sharing the gospel, also for continuing to build a community. The second thing I want to get on is purpose, and next is program. And this will be the longest one. Promotion will be very short. Program, first, just kind of threw these up in no order, just no specific order, but first for our program, how we run the program. I am very confident that we are the best English school in Nago City. The students that come to us learn English way better than any of the other places in Nago City. I am confident to say that, not because I'm prideful or in any way, but I know that our program works. Like, this works, and I've seen it work. People going from zero English to, if they're committed students, then a year later they're living overseas and they feel comfortable with English overseas or whatnot, right? And other students went from zero English, right? Came to us in 5th grade, zero English, and they graduated junior high school, which is American freshman year. That's the end of junior high school in Japan. So they came to us for 4 years, from zero English to then getting into an elite high school by the sole purpose that they passed the English part of the exam without any mistakes. You're not supposed to pass without mistakes. Those tests are just to see where you're at and to choose, the top tier students or whatever. Not to get people to completely, ace the test, right? So we've seen students completely ace the test, and the school says, you failed in all other subjects, but we're bringing you to our school because your English is amazing, right? But that's also because the level of education in all the other areas are really low in our part of town. Things are really slow, and so they were top of their class, but yet they were, for the rest of Japan, really low on the ranks because of what's being taught, right? And so, but their English is what got them in. We've had a lot of students get into prestigious schools because of their English. We've had a lot of students go overseas, and their lives are changed because of English. We've had kids that are now they're still in elementary school, and like, English class in elementary school to these kids is way different than all the other kids in class. They know it, they're proud, they're having fun, they know all the answers, they got it, their pronunciation is better than the teachers, and they're correcting the teacher and whatnot, and so it's totally changed, their future with English, right? And that's pretty much with the world that they see outside of Japan. So I am confident that our program is the best program in Nago City. I've seen other programs and I know what they have, and then I've also seen the price and I know what they offer for their price. We are best price-wise, and we are best program-wise for the students. We pack out the short amount of time that we have with the students with getting them to learn. Okay, so first, foundational. You want your program to be foundational, okay, because you're not focused on the now, you're focused on the future of the student. And so it needs to be foundational, because if you teach them just things, just sporadic things, you're not going to run into those things all the time. And you run into things in between, and they just don't know how to respond, because they only know how to listen to this question and respond to this kind of question. That's it. But if they have a foundation, then they're able to pick up certain grammar and things like that, and they're able to kind of understand it and respond to that. And this foundation is set, so they're able to work.
Extrapolate, probably.
Is that word?
Extrapolate, so that they can take something they learn and use it in
There we
another
go.
situation.
Yeah. Extrapolate, I like that. Extrapolate. They can take what they've learned here and apply it, to all the different situations, right? And so, getting them foundational, right? It's not over their head, but it's not too simple at the same time. So you don't just teach things that wow the student, oh, I didn't know that, I didn't know that, I didn't know that. You need to re-imply things that they've learned in the past or whatnot. But then, anyways, so foundational. It's got to be foundational. Build foundation. Focus on the foundation. Don't worry, because this will, over years, because it's not an overnight thing. It's not a magical thing that just happens to some students. It takes years. And if these students come for those years, then their foundation is built. And students that started book 1 with us, that are now in book 3, it's a whole new world for them, because they're out of the foundation phase, seemingly out of the kind of this foundation phase, and now they're learning certain technical words and learning different phrases that they didn't know before. And then in book 4 and 5, it's like they're just applying different things to the foundation that they have, and there's no struggle because the foundation is built. Okay, so building a foundation. Yeah, that'll also go into the materials aspect later. Affordable. For us, at first we threw out a very expensive class, but it was a very intense class, and it was worth the money, but it was an expensive class. And that is something that can go in Naha City, that can go with the professionals. When you're teaching professionals, you can throw out an expensive class because they got the cash and they're looking for something that's professional, so they're willing to pay for it. And it didn't go over well, or 0, right? And then I was like, okay, let's bring it down. I'm like, what am I willing to pay as someone who doesn't have money? What am I willing to pay for learning a language? And I'm like, something that's like 1,000 yen, $10 a class is not too much for me, right? It's cheap, right? Something that I could do. If I could send my kids to something that is like $10 an hour type of thing, and I feel comfortable at that. I don't feel like I'm gypping the students. And I know that as the Lord grows it, then it'll start paying back. We're in the negative, you know, for many years, right? It's not paying off itself, but it will over time. And so I approached it in the faith aspect of God's going to, you know, build it over time. And that allows us to provide an education to kids that don't normally get an English education because of finances. Families that have like 7 kids, which we have in Nago City. Families that have big families. A lot of their kids, you know, big families, their whole family comes to our English class because they can't afford for each kid to come, right? And the parents, type of thing. And so now we have access to all the family members. We have access to all groups of people in Nago City, not just the high class, the people who have a lot of cash. And so we want to connect to all different communities, and so we want the price to be affordable for everyone. And so we are the cheapest English school in Nago City, and no one can compete with our prices, and no one wants to compete with our prices. But for advanced, like not kids classes, but for advanced like adult classes, we do 1,500 yen an hour because the amount of advanced students are fewer, and so and then also they're working on a lot more difficult things, and so we charge 1,500 yen, and they totally understand it. They're cool with that. Next, consistent. Okay, and so you want consistency in an English program, meaning, of course, you're not canceling classes too much, right? You're meeting with them a lot. In fact, they're canceling classes more than you are, type of thing. It's like, oh wow, you're gonna cancel class? Okay, yeah, no problem, I understand, right? Because you rarely cancel classes, type of thing. And so you're consistent. Also consistent meaning you provide more than 1 day a week for them. And this is huge. Students who come once a week compared to students who come twice a week, the growth rate, or it's completely different. They catch so much. And for kids classes, we teach the same class all week. So level 1 kids, we have maybe 8 classes of the same class all week long. And level 2, we have maybe like 6 classes of the same class all week long. Level 3, we have maybe 4 or 3 classes all week. And then level 4 and 5, because the amount of students, is fewer as you go up, we have like at least two twice a week. Some students come 3 times a week. We've had students that come 4 times a week. Most students that come multiple times will come twice a week. And they learn the same thing twice a week. And so the same writing thing, we erase it on the paper and then they rewrite it, at the end of class, and they learn it twice a week. And those students in class, the second time, they know the answer. When we're playing games with the conversation, they're getting all the points. And everyone wants to be on their team type of thing. And so now English to them isn't something that's difficult, it's something that I can do and it's fun. Because they're coming twice a week and they're getting it, right? And so twice a week, encouraging the students to come at least twice a week is important. We had a student come who's going to go overseas to an international school that needed to get in at least the 1st grade. She's a 2nd grader here in Japan. She's half Thai and half Japanese, and she speaks both languages, Thai and Japanese, but not English. And her international school will be an English school, And her English was, it was 0. And she struggled, and she's shy. So that makes it harder for her to learn because she's not outspoken, right? And she came to us for 6 months, 4 times a week, doing the regular conversation twice a week, and doing phonics class twice a week. And she passed into 2nd grade in 6 months later. From 0 English, she passed into year 2 of elementary school into the international school. And her dad was just like, I was just even hoping that she would only pass into at least 1st grade, and I didn't even think she could. She passed into 2nd grade. Dad was blown away, right? Consistency. She was coming, right, a few times a week, and that's what was important. Adults that want to do something in the near future using English, they'll come to us, and we'll be like, yeah, we can meet a few times a week. Let's do that, and they grow rapidly. Next. So affordable, right, foundational, affordable, consistent, and friendly, right? Friendly is so important. You got it, right? We're building a community of family because we don't have family there, of friends because we don't have friends there. Not a business relationship. It is, but it's not. And I'd rather err on the side of making it a friend relationship than a business relationship because that cuts me off to a lot of other things that I want to invest in their life, right? And a lot of things that I want to get out of just knowing someone and spending time with someone and them inviting me out to eat or me inviting them out to eat and spending time with them. So friendly, being friendly, because you are representing Christ to them. You are representing the church to them, the body of Christ, but also you want a friend. Right? You got a friend in me, that song. You just want a friend, right? And so you want to be friendly. You want to get to know them and you want to enjoy them. So at the beginning of the adult classes, we just say, how was your week? And we talk, what are you going to do this weekend? Oh yeah. We know more about them than their spouse. We know more about them than their kids. We know more about them than their parents because we talk to them every week in depth about things going on in their life. Just for being friendly, right? And getting to know them. And they get to use English at that time, but it's just we spend, 5-10 minutes just doing that at the beginning of class. And then enjoyable, okay? Friendly is how you deal with them, you know what I mean? Business-wise and everything else-wise, but also enjoyable. It needs to be enjoyable to keep their attention for adults and kids. Well, you know what I mean? They just didn't like coming. Well, did you make it like, them? Did you try to get them to like coming, right? You want them to like coming. I want them to make you want them to like coming. Please say and want to like coming. I want to make it enjoyable for them so that they like coming. So every week they're hungry for English class. So students, they tell their parents, they're excited. And when they miss a day, when I cancel a day, they say, we got to make that up sometime throughout the week. Mom, can we make that up? I don't want to miss class. And we have kids that say that, right? They want to come. They don't want to miss because they enjoy. They want to come back for more. It helps them pay attention. And who wants to pay for something that you don't enjoy, right? And of course, there are times when it's not enjoyable, and you got to go get through those times. And of course, there are times when, you know what I mean, you, especially with kids, you say, you know what, hey, you get on them. But there's an important balance with keeping it enjoyable. Next, that's also enjoyable, meaning that it's age appropriate. It has to be age appropriate. We have 3 and 4-year-olds separate than 5 and 6-year-olds because it wouldn't be enjoyable for the 5 and 6-year-olds and a 3 and 4-year-old, and vice versa. And then we have elementary school separate, and then we have usually junior high school is kind of depending on the student, but usually junior high school and up is not in our kids program. It's a separate program, and that includes adults or whatnot. And so keeping it age appropriate and group appropriate for them, keeping things going at their pace of thinking. I'm like, okay, these kids are rallying today. Okay, so let's, instead of doing this at the beginning, let's do that halfway through it, and just improvising with when I do things in the class for the really little kids. And so keeping it moving, but then when they're really focused, keeping it sitting and just keep it practicing. And we're able to sit on things sometimes for 15 minutes, which is a lot for a 3 or 4-year-old. But if they're into it, then they just use that, right? And take advantage of what they're enjoying at that time. And so, yeah, so foundational, affordable, consistent, friendly, enjoyable. And then also, again, making it, it's English classes, so you're going to come here, you're going to learn English. I'm not going to try to use it to coerce you to anything, right? And so you can feel safe in coming here, knowing that you're going to get an English education, and eventually you'll see that what I have in Jesus is something that you want. But I'm not going to throw that in the English class and force that on all the students, a good thing. Next, so we have purpose, program, and then we have promotion. And promotion is really important. You can be the best thing in your city. No one knows about you. You're just sitting there, and you're just going to waste. You're just wasting time, right? So promotion is huge. And as Calvary, a lot of things are being humble and knowing that the Lord's going to provide, and a lot of organic kind of feeling to it. And so it's weird to promote yourself type of thing, because we've always come up under this organic feel of God will do the work, and God does do the work. But if people don't know that you're there, then they're looking for something, whether it be church or English classes. You've got exactly what they need and they want. They don't know about it. You need to let them know about it. So promotion's important. Building a sign was our first. Building our sign. The first sign we built was a hand fat, Sharpie written one. Boom, Eikaiwa or Ego in our window. Lady walking her dog. She saw that while I was putting up Christmas lights, and she that was our first student, right? 6 months into it. And right, and then the second time we had a sign on the wall, and that's when we had people call us. And so signs are really important, right? Putting out signs, the little flappy, banners are really cool too to put up throughout the day. People see it and they know Eikaiwa Kyoshitsu. Like you can have a name, and I know in America a lot of people just like just a name, you know what I mean? Like just let's talk. That's our name. People eventually know they're in English class, but people don't know. And so, I like Let's Talk Eikaiwa Kyoshitsu, right? That's our name, Let's Talk Eikaiwa Kyoshitsu. So everyone knows that we are an English conversation school, so you come to us for that, because people see signs, don't know what they are, right? And we get a lot of people connected through the sign. Second, Facebook boost. Facebook boost, not Facebook posts, but boosting your post. Putting money into boosting your post. So throwing up throwing up, I'll show you in a second, throwing up things and spending money and gearing it towards your community and the area that it's going to reach. You can fix all that on Facebook and people will get it. We have people come from Facebook posts, right? From boosting it, advertising it on Facebook. Also flyers given to students that they then give to their friends and family. Always having a stack there because people will pick them up and bring them because they believe in what's happening and it's working and they want others to know about it. And then also community advertisements that people will approach you about joining in, and we always join in those and they throw us up there. Okay, so let me get in the text really quick. We have, actually here, let me show you really quick. Can I throw this up there?
Yeah, I think you have to switch it back on. Just went to sleep. Like the whole TV switched on.
Wake up. This was awful. That's closed. So we have a Facebook page that's through our, like, my wife's Facebook, which I jumped on. I hijacked. Oh, there you go. Okay, so this amount of people were reached organically through all of my friends and just through people that this amount of people, right? So this reached 2,000 people. Over 2,000 people saw this in Nauru City. This is just our program. So I wanted them just to see our program, and every year I put up our new schedule and I boost it, and I boost it throughout the year as well, because we're always inviting students just to come in and join the program. And so it reached 2,000 people in our area, and we got people coming through that. And so boosting it, 90 people engaged it, right? That's a lot. I spent $40 on this one, reached 2,000 people.
Yeah.
Spent $40 on flyers, get in the hands of people that don't care about it and they end up in the trash. 90 people, we got 90 people that are actually interested in something like it, right? As opposed to just giving flyers and hoping it hits someone, right, out in town. We actually we're able to target people that are interested in it and they're looking for it, and so then they're able to click on it, right? So 90 people, right? So $40 for 90 people, that's a really good return, right? We didn't get all 90 people coming, but 90 people clicked on it. But $40 is like 1 month of one student coming once a week, right? And if we get one student out of it, then it's paid off. And then also we throw up and boost church events on our English thing because we want to outreach. I boost our different reading program things that we're still, we still get into class and get students excited. I show pictures and videos of some of the really cute kids that come to class. The kids I'm allowed to share, post up, and some of the kids do amazing. But it's mainly my kids just because I don't want to throw up other people's kids all the time if they don't want it. And then I throw up stuff concerning about our extensive reading program and studies that have been done on it. Gets people excited about that. Okay, so that's one of our students. So he's been coming twice a week for 6 years now, maybe, and he can't get enough of it. The students who come twice a week are the ones who come for a long time. Once a week, they lose it eventually because it just doesn't click really well. So, it does click well, but other things get in there. But these guys, they really see it affecting their lives, changing their lives, or whatnot. And he reads and he does the extensive reading. He's been doing it since he began elementary school, and so he reads books beyond what my son Masaki can read, and he's just a regular Japanese school student. And so we use these for little kids and teaching expressions every day. We go, hey, how are you feeling? How are you? I'm excited. How are you? I'm scared. How are you? I'm sad. We do these things, do activities at first with these, and after that we just share them and we make all the faces and stuff. And then at the end, how do you feel? Oh, I'm sad, or how do you feel? I'm angry. Oh, well, okay, you're angry. How do you feel? I'm scared. Okay, how do you feel? I'm excited. All right. And so we do that with the kids. Also, I used to do this with adults, but they're in our kids' room now, so I stopped doing it with adults because we have other emotions too. We have a phonics. If you are looking for a phonics program, click on phonics is the way to go. And spend the money on getting the whole package because it works. And there's a lot in it and it works. So if you want phonics program to do with the kids, do this one. This is awesome. Click on phonics with the whole program. Next, for our 3 and 4-year-olds, we do Tiny Talk 1A for 1 year, and then the next year we have them. We do 1B, and it's conversation based, which you don't really get with kids' books. It's conversation based book for text for young kids, which it's just too much stuff for these little kids a lot of the times. This is conversation based, and so we learn a conversation for 2 weeks, and then we go to the next conversation, and then we do the review chapters, and then at the end of class they color, and the coloring is all connected with this, so we're using it while they're coloring, we're saying it, so it's spoken and not written. There's only thing that they write in class are ABCs, because we don't want to bog them down with all the other writing or whatnot. But ABCs for 3 and 4-year-olds, basic ABCs, 5 and 6-year-olds, phonics. We don't just teach ABCs, we teach A, B, K, D, right? We use the phonics program song every day. We don't use this program for this class, but we just use the song every day, and they're learning phonics. So when they go up into the elementary school program, they're the top of the class students. They're confident, they're awesome. And then we do book 2A for a year with them and 2B for a year with them at 5 and 6-year-olds of Tiny Talk. And this is, right, these are things that they're going to learn that, elementary kids aren't even learning, right? Or are learning in their later years of elementary. And so Tiny Talks is awesome. I fell in love with it, and I've never found anything like it before. That's for 3 and 4-year-olds, 5 and 6-year-olds. And then elementary, we do Let's Go, and we run our own program with Let's Go. So we do
Jesse, not too tight or it's going to break.
We do a page a day. We do a page a day. This page is connected with here, so we just kind of do this one together. We do a page a day, and we practice it in class with the students and read it and do it and practice it and have them practice it. We're using it for about 15 minutes, and then after there's 10 minutes of writing, which is in the workbook. So for book 1 and 2, the students only purchase a workbook, and then for all the other levels 3 and up, they purchase a text and workbook. So we do 1 page, we practice it, get them to know it, and these books are really good. So we start off the class like here, but this is a lot shorter increments of what we do in class. For the elementary kids, we do 5-10 minutes of what's your name, what's the date today. Look at all my pictures. Oops. You see? Is it up there? Oh no, it's not up there. It's not good. Oh yeah. Hey. So we have this up, and we do this every day. We do what's your name, what's your age, what grade are you in, when's your birthday, what grade are you in, what school do you go to, what's your teacher's name, and then what's the date today. And we have the students say, or we say with them at the beginning and the end, so they can say it on their own. Today's Thursday. Yesterday was Wednesday. Tomorrow is Friday. What's the season? Island. What's the weather today? And we look at the outside. It's cloudy. Okay, and we change that or whatever, right? And we do this whole calendar every day with the students. And so this is elementary and up. The little kids, we do what's your name, age, and everything is I'm. That's it. What's your name? I'm or what's your name, and just the name. I'm Masaki, and then how old are you? I'm 7, and then that's it. Oh, and then what's the weather? And we do weather, and that's it for 3 and 4 year olds. 5 and 6 year olds, what's your name, age, when's your birthday? And we don't say my birthday, is just say January 15th, and then we do today's date is, and I write it on the board, and we sing the months of the year, we sing the days of the week, we do the weather, we throw it up there, what's your favorite color? All right, good. And then we start into our lessons, right? So at the beginning of every class, we always do self-introductions. Even for high school students, we have a paper that there's a bunch of questions that the students do with each other, things that they're going to use when they meet someone. And so, yeah, so this is these books that we do. Let's Go. Highly recommend those. Also, at the beginning of class, self-introductions, calendar, and then we read a book, level appropriate for the students. And these are nonfiction science sight readers, so the sight word readers are really good to get this whole thing. There's guided science readers, there's this one, the fiction, nonfiction sight readers, and these are cheap to buy, a bunch of books in one at all different levels. And so we read that with the students at the beginning, right? You can exercise, right? And then you can run. I go, hey, that looks like Jesse! And all the kids laugh, ah! We're having fun as we read the book, right? I go, oh, you can kick. Oh man, look at Jonah, look at that. Oh look, Anaheim, all right, yeah. And look, Rob, you can slide. And so we do that, and then we get into our lesson, and we just do the conversation, and then do the writing for 10 minutes. At the end of class, the last 10 minutes, we always want to try to provide time for the last 10 minutes for the addicting ego. Yeah. Ego. And it doesn't mean English, which I wish it did, but it means aqua, green, and orange. But it also means English. Until they count the purple, and that's not even on there anymore. What's up with that? Anyways, but these are amazing. These are the tool of the century. These will change your class. These are awesome. So,
but those real quick, I'm sorry, but aren't those only for like little higher level, like elementary?
Thank you.
They have little kid ones too.
No, yeah. So there's conversation, question and answer ones, and there's phonics. And so there's levels 1 through 4 of conversation, levels 1 through 4 of phonics. For elementary, first grade, beginners class, we will do question and answer with them, no problem, because that's normal question and answer that we can do. But normally, instead of doing question and answer, because it's Uno with speaking, right? And so the kids are having fun, but they have to speak, so you're not wasting time on just a game, right? You're actually using the time, and they're learning, and they don't know it. And I like using phonics because this gets them to practice the phonics, right, which they need in class as well. And so with the little kids, I do phonics 1 with them. 5 and 6 year olds, I do phonics 1 with them. And then from first grade up, I do phonics 2 and 3 and then 4. And then with our higher level kids, like the kid you saw in the picture, he's on question and answer, right? Are you an early bird or a night owl? And then the students, I'm more an early bird, I'm more a night owl. Describe your dream vacation, right? What do you think are the best things about summer? You know what I mean, right? And so these are for higher level students, level 4. So we have all the levels. And then there's a Christmas one, which is fun to do, but that's a little higher level one. Christmas one, the Halloween one, but we don't have Halloween, we don't do the Halloween one. And then we have there's also the Japanese one, they have Nihongo, but it's only level 1, which I'm bummed about. There's a Nihongo one, so if you want to teach Japanese, they have that. And they have other events and things like that. This is awesome, the last 10 minutes of class. And with adults too, we do this with adults too. And the adults enjoy it. We get on each other, oh man, pick up cards, oh no, and so these are fun. The last 10 minutes of class are the most glorious. So they leave after struggling, and then you get into this, and they're playing a game. They're still using English, but they're relax and enjoying the fun, and then they're done, right? And they leave and they go, that was enjoyable. Forget about all their trauma that they had in class. Anyway, so we also provide an extensive reading program, which I've invested thousands of dollars into over the time. All of our books. We have hundreds of books from level 0, 3-letter words, all the way up to chapter books and listening and reading or whatnot. And that, I mean, we have our kids on that because it works. It's awesome. And then also, instead of Ego, sometimes we'll do Guess Who with students. We'll do Apples to Apples for kind of higher level, Apples to Apples Junior with higher level students and bigger classes. Speak and Play are good for, it's a conversational game, so that's actually made for ESL classes. Speak and Play, get that. And then also Would You Rather is a really fun one for higher level students with groups. Really fun, right? Would you rather have seen samurai sworn to have 7 samurai sworn to protect you, or 500 hamsters sworn to protect you? And you have to try to guess what the person is, their answer that they're going to put down, an honest answer that they're going to put down. So it's a get to know you game and kind of fun, silly things. And then headbands for classes that can handle it. That one has to be classes that can handle it. But introducing these games to mix up, to mix it up at the end of class. Yeah, and then homework, we give homework for the adults. And do this, we give homework every week, and I tell them when they first come to class, say, hey, this is your trial class, it's a free class, they saw the class, say, hey, if you do homework every week, your English is going to go, woo! If you don't do homework every week, you're going to come back going, wait, what was that, and just barely holding on to what you got, or not holding on to what you got, feeling like English just isn't for you. But if you do homework, you've got it, you know it, you come back, I know the answer. You realize, you think English is for you, and you're, it's compatible for you, it feels like, because you're doing your homework and you're into the material again, right? And so this is a side-by-side conversational book. So the homework we would give, say for this page, right? Are you busy? Yes, I'm washing my hair. Is Frank busy? Yes, he is. He's cleaning his apartment. So I want you to write numbers 4 through 6 and write 2 originals, right? And you're using the format that they give you. It's based on grammar. It's all foundational. It's all based on grammar, but you're throwing certain words in there, that different verbs or nouns in there, practicing on that grammar foundation or format that they give you. And so then when they run into a situation where they need to use a different word, they're able to use it then, because at home they've thought about it. And homework is important. For the little kids, if they can't do it in class, they don't get their star for finishing the writing paper in class. So we say if you finish it at home, you get a star, but it's hard for them to do it at home because they're still learning, foundational stuff, right? And so we give rewards for little kids. These kids get instant rewards. They have happy face, straight face, sad face. Happy face is 2 candies, straight face is 1 candy, sad face is no candies. For these kids, the elementary and up, they get a happy face, and a happy face is 1 candy, 1 star.